Hey, Rick, Bud, it's so glad. I'm super excited that you're joining us here today. I hear you got a killer buyer presentation you're going to share. I'm super excited to hear about it. So, man, tell us all about how you close buyers, my friend.
Thanks, man. Thanks for that intro, Jared. Listen, let's just get straight into it because I got a lot of stuff I want to share with you guys, right?
Cool.
Before I get into the actual buyer presentation, I just want to get into the mindset of why we need to share this presentation. Okay, so here's what's constantly on my mind when I am dealing with a lead. Okay, so from lead turns into a prospect, right? First, you get the lead, and now eventually, when you're face to face, it's a prospect, or on the phone, it's a potential client. So, our goal is to turn that prospect into a client. Okay, but most real estate agents in my 15 years that I've encountered stop right there, even if they get right there. Whereas when I'm hanging around with top producers or people that take this business really seriously in terms of agent level up, you know what this is called, you actually always should be thinking how this client is turned into a raving fan.
Yeah.
Okay, so when I'm in front of a client, a prospect, my goal is to turn it get them into a client or her, but I'm always thinking, how do I make this person a raving fan? So going out and showing buyers houses right away, yeah, they might pick one and you might make a commission check. But if you don't do these buyer presentations or these listing presentations or set yourself up as the expert, you will never get that raving fan and referral system. You know what I'm saying, Jared? Okay, so let's get right into it,
Yeah, it's all
man.
about, I mean, it's not about one deal, right? Yeah, it's not about one deal. It's about all the deals that you can get throughout the years and who they can refer you to, right? Like it's number
Absolutely.
one resource, number one group for all agents, right? Awesome.
Absolutely. So, look, too many of us as real estate agents, I've done it too. I'll start you off with a quick story. 15 years ago, one of my first buyers, man, he put me through the ringer. I can't even tell you, man. I drove this guy from city to city, house to house. Man, picking him up from work downtown, taking him all the way to the suburbs. Like, I wanted the deal, and he put me through the ringer. And you can guess it. He didn't buy a house off me. And you know what? I didn't get him on a buyer representation agreement. I was green. So I told myself, I'm never doing that again. So, whichever way you're meeting these buyers, I'm assuming right now, let's make an assumption that these buyers that you have met, they are not through your sphere. Because if you're going to grow your business, you're going to have to learn to work with strangers. I urge you, even if they are on your sphere, I would still do these presentations. Okay. So, man, so in order to have, like, one of my favorite superheroes is Batman, right? He doesn't have any superpowers, but he's got that bat belt, right? That utility belt where he pulls out all his little tricks and kind of like, wins the battle, if you will. So, because this is training, we're going to do this in two parts.
Okay.
I will show you all the tools that are in the belt first, okay, and then on part two, we'll go through how we're gonna use these tools. Okay, so I want you guys to be equipped. If I just do the presentation, I want you to know that when these tools are about to come up. So let's go over the tools first. Okay,
Okay,
so
cool.
what I'm gonna do is we'll go over some tools. The first thing you need is a binder. Okay, you need a binder and a laptop. I'll show you guys what everything is in this stuff. This is cool, man. I'm excited to do this. So basically, you gear up with your tools. So if we could share screen here with Jared, I'll
Okay,
show you
cool.
guys the first tool.
Awesome. So, guys, listen, take notes, man. Make sure you're taking notes on all these tools and stuff because Rick's going to share how he uses these tools throughout the presentation. So, all right,
That's
let
right.
me share
Okay.
some screen here. All right,
Okay.
Bud, your screen is shared.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, I'm gonna start off with this first tool. So because I run a team, um, it's not always me just doing these presentations. So I have to. This is like second nature to me. I've done them so many times, as you can imagine. So I have them written down for myself and also for my team. So I'm not going to go over it word by word, but let's just go over it briefly, okay? So this is kind of like the mindset. This is kind of what you're going to be going through in your buyer presentation. Um, Selling is a highly competitive field, and sales professionals are constantly looking for a competitive advantage. So true. When calling on a prospect, you may only have one chance to move the sales process forward. Okay. This is where these presentations come in. Okay. So your mindset in a face-to-face appointment is your goal is to show them what you know and earn their trust. So another way of putting that, Jared and the audience, as real estate agents, this whole presentation is based on earning your client's trust, setting yourself up as the expert. If you set yourself up as the expert right now during this presentation, not only, like I said, are you going to get raving fans, they're going to listen to you when it comes to negotiation. You're going to be better equipped on stop getting those lowball offers that some of us are used to. Okay. So during the rapport building phase, okay, what I'm doing when I'm asking these questions, again, I'm giving you these tools and then I'll kind of do the presentation afterwards. But say somebody walks into the office, you're meeting them, and you know what, they're wearing a Toronto Raptors hat, or you're going to ask, it's a sunny day, say, hey, how was your drive in on your sunny day? Obviously, you guys know how to build rapport. But here's the difference. When I'm building rapport, yeah, I'm listening to what people are saying and I'm building that conversation. However, I'm trying to figure out what their language is. What kind of personality do they have? So this is on my checklist. Figure out their personality. Okay. Are they direct? Are they fearful? Are they social? I had clients, Jared, probably you have too, that I sat for like 10, 15, 20 minutes, half an hour. We never even talked about real estate. And they're like, let's go look at houses. Those are what I call high eyes, right? So I kind of define this. This is not something that I made up. There's probably better personality tests by now, but I've always been using the DISC. Their personality is going to be rated with D, I, S, or C. Okay. So, and look, you know what? I can't read over all this stuff. The presentation will be way too long. So if you guys wanted these presentations, I'm sure Jared, we could figure that out. Um,
We sure can.
okay. So they're either going to be a D personality, an I personality, an S personality, or a C personality. Okay. That's a whole different topic on how to figure that out. But during that rapport phase, I'm trying to figure out their language. Why? Because I can't sell to them in my language. I'm a high I, medium D kind of guy, getting a higher D as I get older and grumpy. But anyhow, so I mean, so like, so like I can't speak. So say if I'm a really to the point high D, and somebody comes in and they're an S, I'm gonna scare them. I have to put on my S hat. Okay. So during the report, the point you want to take away from this is during the rapport building phase, figure out their language, speak their language. If they walk in as a family, as a couple, guy, the checklist is right here. Very important. Figure out who the decision maker is quickly. Gear your presentation to the decision maker. If you don't know, that's fine. You can do it neutral. During the rapport building phase, you want to ask questions, and the way they're answering the question, who's answering that question, you're going to understand who's the decision maker. When you get really good at this and you add some charisma, you can even actually ask the question. You say, hey, you know what? In my family, I would say my wife's the decision maker. Who makes the decisions in your family, right? Whatever. Okay.
Yeah.
Find out who the decision maker is. Man, this one makes me shake my head, guys. Even my own team members, I love you guys, but sometimes we'll do a presentation and honestly, we don't get all the contact information. We'll get a phone number, but not an email. You got to get their direct phone number, their office phone number, their email address. Okay, this is the one where most people forget all their social media. Okay, because this is a whole different training, but if you're doing your social media right, you can use that as incubation and nurturing these people as you go. Okay, so get all their contact information. We're going to get into the real estate goals during the presentation. Again, these are the tools, but just by asking your client, your prospect at this point, so what are your real estate goals? Using that word, some of them they're going to get confused. They're going to be like, what do you mean by goals? Like, we want 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. Say no, but like, how long is this an investment property? Is this going to be your primary residence? It's all right here. What's your timeline? Are you first time home buyer? Are you planning to live in this house for 5 years? Get all that criteria. Okay. It's going to help you at the end, and you're proving yourself as a professional. I'll show you how we're going to use that later. Um, Obviously, Your criteria checklist is right here. Okay, you're going to ask some general questions. Again, I could share this with you guys. Whoever's interested, Jared will find a way to get this to y'all. Financing, pricing, this is very important. Okay, we'll get into that. I have a whole section on that. Here's a question about their financing. I do a deep dive into that. More questions about their home, what style of home that they want. So you guys get this. You have to have a checklist of figuring out what they want. After you figure out what they want, what schools they want to be nearby, what neighborhood, whatever the case may be, it is very important, in my humble opinion, to go over their financing. At this point, I've done it in the past, and too many realtors do it. Say, hey, I'll get you in contact with a mortgage broker. Well, you know what happens? You're playing follow up again. This client, says, yeah, tell the mortgage broker to call me tomorrow. Nowhere to be found tomorrow, right? That happened to me a lot. Or your mortgage broker drops a ball. They might not be on point as much as you, or they might be busy or on the golf course. I don't know what they're doing. So, hey, get all their financing information right here, in my humble opinion. It's going to save you a step. And guess what else? It's going to prove you the expert. You're going to be the go-to person, because right now they're going to be thinking, oh man, this guy knows about mortgages too. So here's just some hints, right? Obviously in Canada, there's different, we do have PR programs. So you want to find out if they're Canadian citizen. Will they be paying the foreign sales tax, whatever? Down payment, where is this down payment coming from? How much of a down payment is there? How long has it been in your bank account? Okay, I'm not going to go over all this stuff, guys, but there's stuff here about the CMHC, annual income. How much money are they making? Don't be afraid to ask these questions.
So it's so fun. I was about to say that, like, so many agents are afraid to dive into this, and I think it is exactly what you said. It shows you're the expert, and that you're all about helping them get into a home. So love it.
You're absolutely right. So it's kind of like, Jared, it's kind of like going to a doctor's office, and the doctor's not asking you, hey, tell me your symptoms, right? Are you coughing? Are you breathing heavy? Let me check your throat. Or if you go to an accountant, he's going to say, give me your expenses. If you do not ask these questions, again, my humble opinion, like, here's my direct personality. You're just an Uber driver, right? Like, I mean, you don't want to be, and then when they don't listen to you, when, you're a guy that's driving them around and opening lock boxes, hoping they buy property. And then at the end of it, when you're negotiating the deal, they're like, man, they're not listening to me. The house is 700,000. They want to pay 610,000. Well, you never proved yourself as the expert. Okay, so this is the time to prove yourself as the expert and get those easy deals, like proper deals that you should be getting, and getting raving fans. So there's no way getting around these questions. Okay, the annual income. Hey, how's your credit? Here's Equifax. Here's a link to Equifax. We got to pull your credit. They appreciate this stuff, because they don't know what they're doing. And now they're like, okay, someone's walking me through it, and here you go. You explain the process. Please understand that my services are completely free. This is a good tool when you're getting the BRA signed. So this is the language, and I'll show you guys how to do it. This is the language that you're going to be using when you're getting the BRA signed. Okay.
And for those, buyer representation agreement, just for people that,
right. Yeah. Good point, Jared. Like, we use also like VIP agreements and stuff. We have BRAs, whatever you use, you want to get that signed.
Yeah.
You got to get those signed. And during the process, I'll give you guys like an objection handling of, remind me, Jared, if I forget, if they say, no, I'm not going to sign it, I'll tell you what I do. Okay. So now I'm going to share with you guys. So that's kind of the process. That's my checklist. Okay. I've already got it up here, but if you guys want this checklist, we can find a way of getting it to you. Here's the other thing. After you do your pre-framing, you find out the criteria of the house, you talk about the financing. Okay. During that financing phase, if it's an investor, I will pull up ROI charts, return on investment charts, rent versus buy charts, comparing 3 different properties. I'm not going to show you that, because honestly, my friend G, he's going to be presenting, and his are a lot better than mine. So insert that portion during this phase too, if you're talking to investor or just whatever, even a first-time home buyer. After you've done that part, you proved yourself to the expert. Now, this is where you're going to take it to the next level. Okay. So what does a home buyer want? Jared, what does a home buyer want? I'll put you on the spot.
Yeah, put me on the spot. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, truly, a home buyer wants an agent that knows the process, knows the market, and knows how to negotiate.
You got it. So perfect. He's got that. And then ultimately he wants the product, which is the house. Okay.
Oh,
So now here's where here's more tools in the bat belt. Okay. I love this part. I get excited. Okay. So now I'm going to show you all the tools and we're going to put it together at the end where we'll stop screen share and we'll put it together. So
okay.
now, okay, you're going to show while you have your buyer in front of you, you're going to show them. Okay. So I'll pop open my MLS. I'm going to show them houses because at this point, say I know they want to be in Mississauga.
Okay, so hold on, Rick. Are we going to go back to your screen share?
No, we're good.
We're good. Okay.
Can you see my screen right now?
No, just see you. I can just see your beautiful face. Do you want me to show your screen?
Yeah. Let's go back to screen. Sorry.
Okay, hold on. All right, so I'm looking at your MLS now.
Okay, good. Yeah. So look, now this is a part you've proven yourself as the expert. Like I said, we'll do the whole thing, but these are more tools. While the buyer's in front of you, you want to get his idea. So what do you like in houses? You show him MLS. By this point, you should know what city that they're on because hopefully you're pre-qualifying before the appointment. Anyhow, you just kind of want to show the MLS, but the whole point is you want to go beyond. Okay, so this is where it goes beyond. So you show them a couple of pictures on the MLS. Then I'll be like, hey, Mr. Buyer, listen, what you're looking for in the real estate agent is someone that can show you options as well. Okay, so now you want to get into off-market properties. Okay, you're gonna show yourself as a king right now or queen. So now you're gonna go into off-market properties. So let me show you some of the ways that I do that. So it's kind of like, hey, Mr. Buyer, we have these properties that are on the market, but with our team, we can also show you properties that are off the market. I just don't want to be, saying these words. Let me show you how this works with our team. So we're using a bunch of different stuff. I'll give you guys like 3-4 examples. This is one thing that we use, guys. You guys are free to use it. It's a good company. Vortex. So here, these are targeting private sales. All right. These are your for sale by owners, as we call them, FSBOs. So how that's going to work, I'm going to show this to my prospect because I'm trying to turn him to a client, into a raving fan. I'm thinking raving fan. So I'm going to be like, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, not only do we show you properties on the MLS, but as soon as we agree to start working together, I'm going to be looking at all these private sales. These are properties that other people don't know of. Okay, I'm going to go one step further. And I
Rick, this is Red X, correct? The product that you're using is Red X, correct?
This is Red X, yeah.
Okay.
Red X.
So Vortex
product.
Okay.
Yeah. Good call. So now, not only do I have the for sale by owners, I have the rent by owners. Okay. Why are you showing me rentals, Rick? Well, these are landlords, right? I have 10,000 landlords here. Okay. That I'm going to be showing my prospective buyer, and I'm going to be like, look, these properties, most of them are not on the MLS, right? Or they're on the MLS for lease. These Vortex doesn't show you MLS properties. If you wait too long before you contact them, they might eventually get there. But your hot list is not going to be on the MLS. And so my pitch to the prospect is, hey, listen, I've never met a landlord, or very few times have I met a landlord that doesn't look at trying to sell their home and the option if the price is right. So my thing is to find you options. So I also look at all my landlords. I have 10,000 people there, and you guys won't be at 10,000, but the number doesn't matter. This worked just fine for me when I was at 50, to be honest, or 100. Actually, I'm finding 10,000 is too much because it seems unbelievable, right? So the lower the number is fine, it'll work. In my for sale by owners, my private sales, I have 5,000. Okay, so these are my off-market properties for private sales and landlords that are currently renting the property. Okay. The other thing I use is bold leads. There's a lot of good companies. If you guys want my review on these companies, we can have another conversation, but I am using this. This is just home evaluations. So I'll pull this screen up and I'll be like, hey, Mr. Buyer, not only are we going to show you properties on the MLS, and not only am I going to get you private sales, not only am I going to be contacting landlords. Okay. And guys, please do this stuff. At the end, I'll show you this stuff because you'll be double ending a lot more homes. I've double ended a lot of homes. So anyways, back to the script. So I'll be like, hey, Mr. Buyer, not only that, we have all these people that are contacting us. Here's their addresses. Here's their names. Like here, this guy's wanting to sell in 3 to 6 months. Actually, we were looking in Toronto. So I've got 3,000 people here. I'm not saying all these properties will match your criteria, but as soon as we start your house hunting service, not only are we going to be looking at stuff on the MLS, not only are we going to look at private sales and potential landlords, I'm also going to be going through this list to see what matches you and sneaking you in these properties before anybody else knows about them. Okay. You don't have to use all of these. I also have like in my KV core system, here's buyers, and this KV core system I'm getting for free right now, but that's a whole different topic. See, I have 13,000 people on my KV core, which I use for when I'm listing. That's not a listing presentation, but these are buyers. So to my potential seller, I'd be like, hey, Mr. Seller, I know you probably want a real estate agent that could find you a buyer. I have 13,000 of them that I will market to. And they're like, whoa, that'll increase your demand. If I increase demand, it'll increase your price. Anyways, this is not a listing presentation, but what I can do, if I go into filters, right, I'm just going to target the sellers here. I usually do this in front of them. So these are my my leads that are actually wanting to sell. The number is going to go down probably by 90%, but I didn't do that right, but this should go down to about 1,300. That's going to show me about 1,300 sellers, okay? And then I also have it doing the same thing on this database where I have 14,000 people.
What database is that?
This is Commissions Inc. So as KV Core, yeah. Commissions Inc. With Commissions Inc., same thing. I will go into filters, houses to sell. I personally like KV Core better right now. I'm in the process of moving all of these over. So I like sticking to KV Core, to be quite honest. That's my personal opinion. Okay, so what we can do, that's kind of my tools, what I'm using for my mindset for my buyer presentation. I have my criteria that I'm going to go over, what I want to do. That's my cousin on Facebook. And and then I showed you how to get the off-market property. Yeah. I think I'm good with the screen share, bro. Let's go. Yeah.
Okay. Real quick, Rick, I'm kicking myself, man. I used RedX for so long, and I used to use it for the opposite reason, obviously, of going out and getting FSBOs. But my script to, buyers were always that I kept a private list of FSBOs. So simple. Why didn't I just use RedX, the list from RedX, man? You're making me kick myself, and that just makes sense.
It's so simple. The tools are there for you. You just got to put them together. But look, here's one thing, Jared. Here's my disclaimer. Okay, because the whole thing is about doing raving fan. Don't be that elevator pitch person. Like, if you're gonna say you're gonna do these things, do them.
Do them. Yep.
Do them. And there's ways that you can do them. You just get a hot list. You're gonna get more listings. Look, if I call my RedX, right, and I'm like, hey, look, I have a potential buyer. I want to show them. Other realtors will be like, hey, can I get your listing? Oh, when are you gonna be interviewing people? Whatever, right? I'm just like, hey, man, I don't want your listing. I know you're getting a lot of calls, Mr. Seller, but look, I got an honest buyer that's looking in that neighborhood. I really do. I just did a buyer presentation with him. Look, I want to come inspect your home. I go there, inspect it myself just to see. I just inspect. I go, listen, I'm going to leave my pen in the car. You can check me. No file, no pen. I'm coming just to look at your house. When I'm looking at their house, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to bring in my buyer. What's the deal? How much are you going to get? It's a nice house. Have that conversation. Prep them. Look, when my buyer comes on, leave the lights on, get rid of this stuff, whatever, that kind of stuff. So now, whether my buyer likes that house or not, they're going to be like, man, this Rick guy is already working, and all these other guys have asked me for listings, right? So if you do this, you're going to level up, right? What do we call it here? Agent level up? You're going to level up, right? So a couple more tools, and then I'll put it all together for you guys, okay? I know it's getting long, but man, spend the time in the beginning to get those raving fans, because after that it's just referrals. Talk to Rick. In this Smart Buy handbook, all right, you guys, I like having a binder and my thing. I have like two, let me take them out. This still gets crazy, guys. It's my bat utility belt. Told you it's an ultimate buyer.
You should have came with Batman. I'm Batman mask on, man.
I know. Look. So I have I have 2 agreements of purchase and sale. All right. Okay. That's my tools. I'll put it together for you. I'll put it on the side. The only difference is one price is like $20,000, $30,000 higher. I'll explain it to you. But one, um, that finance condition is in, one of them is deleted. So I'm going to show the power of pre-approval and getting all this stuff done to my client by using that. I'll show you guys. Jared probably already knows what I'm going to do.
No, that's
He
awesome.
figured it out. So also in this binder, guys, I have my expired list. Okay. Some places you're not allowed to tackle expired listings and stuff. So figure out your rules. But I mean, you have, I'm showing my potential prospect. I'm like, hey, these are houses that people that I know that they want to sell. Here's the expired list. Off-market properties, along with my Bold Leads, my Vortex, my Commissions Inc., my KV Core that I showed you. If you don't have all that stuff, you don't want to spend the money. Well, you can get KV Core for free. But if you don't want to spend all the money, go to your expired list, right? And I'm not like Vortex is pretty cheap too. Here's the cool thing. This is my drum roll. Okay, this stuff. Okay, so here I pull out MLS listings. I don't know if you can see. So there's a way to go on your MLS and find out all the power of sales. Okay. So I have like this property here is sold by TD Bank, Bank of Montreal, CIBC. So I'll let my buyer see this. I'll say, look, these are my power of sales. And as they're skipping through it, I'll shut it on them, right? It's kind of like subliminally, you can't, not while they're looking through it, but like when I take it back, I'll shut it on them. Like you can't have that, right? So those are all my tools. So that power of sales tool is really good because that's part of my off-market properties. So look at, I'm not just showing you stuff on the MLS. I'm showing you expired. I'm showing you private sales. I'm telling you like landlord listings that could become your properties, Vortex, Bold Leads, KV Core Sync, power of sales. Okay. Now, I will make it clear to my customer that I could get these from anywhere. Okay. I don't know where. I'm not promising you I'm getting you a power sale. I'm saying this is what we do. Okay. I'm putting myself as the expert, and then I'm getting them to sign a BRA. They usually don't say no. They're like, Rick, you do all that? Okay, I'm down.
Okay,
If I just go there.
What if they say no? I was told to ask you, what if they say no?
Yeah, we're going to do that. Okay, so I'm going to go through the whole thing real quickly, real time. I'm not going to do a role play, but I'm just going to go through the whole thing real quickly and then remind me that. Okay. Get some BCAAs in me. All right, so I'm in front of a buyer. Buyer meets me at the office or I meet them at the house. You know what? Just, I want to give you as much tidbits as I can. When I started getting my team to meet the buyer, not at the office, but at their property, my cancellations went way down. Put that in your back pocket. So I'm saying I meet them at the office, but try to meet them at their house. Okay, so I come in, buyer comes in. Hey, how you doing? Building rapport. Okay, let's put all these tools together now. Hey, Mr. Buyer, how you doing? I'm building rapport. While I'm building rapport, I'm figuring out their language. Is he or she a D, I, S, or C? Okay, so I'm going to mimic my language, okay, to fit their needs. If they're really direct, when it comes down to the BRA, I'm like, hey, sign this. Why do I need to sign this? Well, I'm going to do all these things and we want to work together. Working together with me is free. So that's the next step. If it's like ask someone that's really scared, I'm not going to be that direct. It could be like, hey, you know what? This is what we need to do. We're going to be going through people's houses, and they need to know who's coming in. So I need your driver's license. Don't worry about this agreement. If you're not happy with working with me, we can figure that out. Whatever. There's different ways of talking. That's a whole different thing. So during the report building, I'm figuring out the language. Next step.
So can I ask a question real quick?
Yep.
Wait, can I ask a question real quick?
Of course.
So again, we went back to the beginning. You talked about who's in charge. So like we often know that married couples, they tend to speak different languages. One maybe is a high D, one might be in high S. What language do you speak? Do you find out who's in charge and speak their language, or who's the one who makes the decisions?
Yeah, that's why making the decision maker is very important. I'll speak the decision maker's language, but I'll also make it very comfortable and like cool. And you don't have to get so focused on this. If you don't figure it out right away, the more you do, I don't want you to get nervous. Like, I don't know their language. That's cool. Then just be neutral. That's fine. You will figure it out as you go. I'm just saying, make that as an intention.
Yeah. One of the lessons that I learned about that is I'd often go in and presenting to a buyer, finding who the decision maker was. And because a higher S personality is probably more sensitive, I would speak to them more, and I was losing them because ultimately the decision maker was the higher D and they expected somebody different. Here's the other side of it. Because the higher S is used to living or dealing with a higher D, they're used to someone being that way. So make sure you're speaking in the language of a higher
Absolutely.
D, right? They're used to it. So
absolutely. Talking about high Ds, I would be with some high Ds sometimes and be like, Rick, I'm already gonna use you, man. I like you. I don't want to see all this stuff. I say, you know what I say? I go, listen, I'll go through it quick, but you got to see it. You got to see it because I need you to know what I know. And they'll be like, all right, Rick, whatever, just do it quick. Show everybody.
yeah.
I'm telling you, show everybody. Don't be like, okay, they're ready to buy. You want raving fans. If you don't show them this, like right now,
man, this is your value, and like you're doing an amazing job at showing the value of working with you, which is a big differentiator of other agents who don't, right? So
absolutely, right? So okay, so you built the rapport. Next step is very important. Okay, pre-framing. Tattoo that word, man. Like pre-framing is huge. As soon as I started pre-framing, my life changed. Okay, because right now, if I'm looking at the buyer's in, stranger buyer, remember, has a whole bunch of thoughts. Oh, Rick's going to make me sign something. These real estate agents, whatever his thoughts are. I had a bad experience with one guy, man, but let's just go hear him out. And I'm talking about financing. I'm talking about criteria. They just really want to see houses. So pre-framing is huge. Pre-framing simply means tell them what they're in for. Okay? Tell them what they're in for. So this is how it's going to go. So Mr. Buyer, thank you for coming in. I'm excited to find you the best house at the best price. This presentation's, depending on your questions, and ask me any questions that you want, interrupt me if you have to. I'm excited to show you value. So basically this is what we're going to look at in the next 20 minutes to half hour. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to get a good idea of your real estate goals. What you're looking to do, how long you're looking to live in this property, because it's important to me to make you money in these investments as well. We have, financing sheets, ROI sheets, all that stuff that we'll go over. Obviously, I'm going to get your criteria, Mr. Buyer, Mr. or Mrs. Buyer, what schools you need to nearby, if you need to, near transportation, number of bedrooms. We'll go through all your criteria. I'm going to talk a little bit of the importance of your financing, getting that pre-approved to get you better deals and get you better equipped. Again, I'll briefly mention if they're an investor, I'll talk about ROIs. If not really. Then, Mr. Buyer, we're going to get to your favorite part. We're going to do some house shopping. I'm going to show you some properties, get an idea. Do you like these type of hardwood floors? Do you like open concept? They get really excited about that. So I'll show you some pictures on the MLS. I'm going to show you off-market properties, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. I'm going to show you off-market properties. If you don't know what that means, like I don't want to show you properties that are just listed on the MLS. I'm going to show you properties that pretty much only I know of. Okay, or very few agents know of, and that might get you better houses at better deals. I already showed you guys the tools on that. I'll get into any of your questions, and then what we're going to do, I'm going to get a schedule of what time you guys are, what days and times are best for you to guys to view properties. So I'll make sure we schedule around that, because behind the scenes I got to do a lot of scheduling. So we'll get your schedule, and then working with me is for free. We'll finish up some admin paperwork if everything is good, and you'll be on your way. That's it. Now, when they're sitting across from me, they're relaxed. Okay, I just relaxed them. On your listings, you should be saying the same thing. Make sure you say, hey, we'll be covering commission, covering pricing, because that's all they're thinking. You're talking about your marketing. They're like, what's my house worth? What's my house? Anyway, let's go back to the buyer. Right now, the buyer's saying, okay, where am I going to find these houses? So now I just relax them. They know what they're getting into. Pre-framing is huge. I wish I did that from the beginning. I didn't. In the beginning, I told you my story. I would just drive around buyers. I never had mentorship in this business until very late. But don't do that. Don't do what I did. So anyway, I just pre-framed it. Then I get into the real estate goals. I showed you guys the criteria on the buyer checklist that we showed you guys in the beginning. And their goals are very important. When you're talking about goals, you want to also talking about making the money. This is where you prove yourself as the expert. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, I tell my personal story. I heavily invest in real estate. And although right now they might say something, Rick, we just want a nice house because we built. I go, I know you want a nice house. I get it. I want you to have a nice house, right? But your nice and my nice might be different. My favorite color is green. Yours might be red. But while you're looking for that nice house, good old Ricky over here, I'm going to make sure I make you some money. Oh, I don't care about money, Rick. But you will in 3-4 years. And when I make that for you, I want the biggest hug on the planet. Then they'll laugh, right? So, and some people will be saying, yeah, of course I want to make money. So where can I see your criteria right now? But if we get a little bit on the outskirts, you might get a little bit cheaper, whatever that case may be. Know your market, right? So we talked about the criteria. Okay, this part I like. Now we're going to talk about the financing. So I'll do a little blurb. We okay for time, Jared?
Yeah, we're going in 35 minutes. We're 5 minutes over, man. We're 5 minutes over already.
Yeah.
I know you've got lots to share. So listen, you need to round it up here sometime, but keep going.
Okay. So with your financing part, right? You want to do a little blurb. For the sake of time, I won't do the blurb. The blurb is on your buyer present. That checklist I sent you. You want to talk about the 5 key criteria. It goes into file logic, GDS, TDS. Say those words. 39% could be your GDS. TDS is 44. I think they might have changed that in the last couple of days. But throw out that verbiage. It's all in that buyer checklist. For the sake of time, I'm not going to do it, but I am going to do this. Okay. So, Mr. Buyer, here, have you ever seen these before? I always ask that question because I want to know which part of the process that they are. If they haven't seen them, I would explain the agreement of purchase sale. I let them touch it, get used to it, because at the end of the day, this is what I want them to sign, right? But so in terms of financing, I'm going to say, look, Mr. Buyer, I have a same property. There's a price here for $910,000, and a property here is for $890,000. Same property, 2 different offers. The only difference is, Mr. Buyer, in this $890,000 APS, this financing condition is crossed out.
What's APS stand for? Just for a lot
agreement of purchase and sale. Sorry, okay. Agreement of purchase and sale, right? So the financing clause is crossed out. Okay, on this one, the financing clause is in. So basically, in this one, what we're saying to the seller is, hey, we really like your property. We want to offer you $910,000. However, we need 5 days to figure out our mortgage to see if we can afford it.
Yeah.
That's what the seller is thinking, is what I would explain to him. Whereas in this offer, same property, we're offering them $20,000 less, right? But we're saying this is cash deal. Your financing is set. So that's why, Mr. Buyer, it's really good to set your financing beforehand. A, you're prepared. B, I can try to get you better deals. Or in a hot market, at least I can get you the house because we don't have a financing clause in there. But depending on your market. So then, here's my question. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, you have to say it like this. You can't say which one. I've done say which one would you pick. That doesn't work. This is the verbiage. Is it reasonable to think that you know what? Even though this offer here is $20,000 lower, could it be reasonable that they would take it because they could put the sold sign right now? I would go beyond there and bring in the draft if we can, right? Could it be? They'll be like, Rick, yeah, that's reasonable. So that's what I want to do for you. Okay, I want to make sure your financing is right. Okay, and so we can get you better deals. So you get the point, right? I'm going to speed through it a bit. Okay, so.
And I love that because in a lot of markets, not just in Canada, but if we have American viewers on here as well, in America, in the US, again, the market's so hot that, going into offers, if you've got financing clause in there, you're losing them to cash buyers, right? So getting them more prepared for that is a killer strategy for them as well.
Absolutely. Yep. Then at this point, if I'm dealing with an investor, I have ROI charts, return on investment charts, buyer versus rent charts, all that stuff. Honestly, I used to use them until I saw G's. G's going to be presenting on here. His is better than mine. He already showed me. So I'm going to take his and insert it. So I'm not going to even bother doing mine. Look out for his stuff. It's great. This is where you insert yourself as the expert. Guys, and then after I do that, I just ask them, hey, do you guys have any questions? And I'll answer their question. Here's the next step. Here's the getting back into the sales perp. So guys, you've seen everything. Do you guys have any questions on that? Let's just assume they don't. At this point, say, hey, Rick, man, you do a lot of stuff. I'm like, yeah. So let's get your schedule. I'll get their schedule. That's not that hard. I will lock in a time right now. So what days work? Saturday 11. Cool. So let's meet at the office Saturday 11. Hop in my car. I know it's COVID and stuff is different now, but back in the day, I don't usually show buyers anymore. But when I was personally doing it, I would get them in my car. That just gives me more time to be with them. Also, the day before, I would get or an hour before, if I'm meeting them at the property, I would get them in my car. I would do the route. So I'm not looking lost on my GPS. I'm like going to this house first, that house first. I would make sure that I can just talk. That's a whole different training. So then what day works? Saturday 11. Okay, perfect. So now I'm going to close them for the BRA. Okay, and then we'll end this. We'll end this marathon. Okay, so so listen. So now I'm gonna get to
out, and you're still gonna be talking.
Yeah. Lucky G said this is not that long. So okay, so anyway, so now I'm gonna be like, okay, I got the time that they scheduled in. Can I get a copy of your driver's license? But I take that for FinTrack. Get them used to. They give the driver's license. Boom. I already set them up for the time. I got their driver's license. Next step is they can't say, I'll think about it, because they're already committed to the time of showing me Saturday at 11. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tools in the belt. So they already committed the time. So now when I bring out the BRA, I'm like, hey, look, you know what? This is how I say it. All this stuff that you're getting, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer, look. And at this time, the way I do it, I'm hoping I prove myself as an authentic person that's vulnerable, that's not looking to take advantage of everybody, not that sleazy used car salesman sometimes people think that we are. So then I'm like, okay, so we figured out the time. So Mr. Buyer, working with me is absolutely free. I do all this stuff and it's absolutely free. Seller pays us. You don't have to pay us. I do want to disclose that in this document. Okay, it's right here. This is what we're getting, and you don't pay us, the seller pays us. It's important to me that you know that. So unless you want to pay me too, we should just sign off on this document, right? So that's what I do. And they'll be like, okay, that's cool. We don't have to pay it, blah, blah, blah. Look, sometimes they'll read through it. You run your business the way you run your business. Sometimes they'll read through our BRA and it says if they buy through anybody else, we can, fine them for the 2.5%. Or, I'm never going to do that. You know what I'm saying? I have so much business. I'm not going to do that. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. So if that part bothers them, I honestly just cross it out. I'm like, look, I just want your commitment. I will do this on a handshake. I know what I'm going to do is so good that, usually they just sign it. It's done. Now, let's say they don't. Okay, Jared, remember that part? Let's say they don't.
Let's say they say no.
Rick, man, I really like you. I've been burned in the past. I don't know. I don't like signing and stuff like that. I'm not going to convince them. I'm going to prove myself. So what I do is say, look, that's cool. I understand. We just met, Mr. Buyer. I get it. This is the first time we met. And I might be spitting all these words, but have no action. So why don't we do this? We're going to go Saturday at 11 a.m. Okay. Before then, I'm going to pick out houses, and hopefully you like what I pick out and just see the way I work. All right. So don't worry about this right now. Saturday, 11 a.m. Okay. We'll go ahead and look at houses, look at a couple hours, and let's do that. And then let me know if this is fair. If after that day, you guys think that I'm good at what I do and you feel comfortable working with me, would it be okay at that point that you sign that? Nobody says no.
Yeah.
A, because they want to get out of the office at this point because they don't want to be sold. B, I'm going to do a great job. I've showed them everything I've done, right? Yeah. And then on that day, I'll just be like, I'll make sure I do a good job, look through my list, try to get them a couple off-market properties. And yeah, that's the presentation. Now, last thing, and I'm done. Now, here's your chance to double end. You know what I'm saying? So here's your chance to up your business. People say leverage your listings, which you could. That's a whole different training. Leverage your listings to get more listings and get more buyers. Leverage your buyers to get more listings.
Yeah.
It was a race for me to find these buyers and tell all these private sellers, these feasibles, all these people that I showed you that I got a buyer. I'm done.
Okay, good. Listen, well, what's awesome is what you guys are going to learn today by tuning into all of these speakers is our business is very systematic. And if we create a system for all of the things that we do, it becomes easier. And like all you did there was you have a system to walk a buyer through, so it becomes, you know, a yes to the BRA is or the buyer representation agreement is a natural process, rather than throwing this paper on the table, you know, without you showing value. You showed value through the whole process. And then, you know, and then you're creating a duplicatable system that you do with every buyer. So the reason that you don't have that many struggles with getting buyer reps signed is because you're walking them through a successful system, and you're taking everybody through that. What you guys are going to learn, I hope you took lots of notes there, because there was tons of great stuff in that presentation that you need to start implementing in your presentation. But it's walking them through a process, and your buyer presentation or buyer process, from the point at which you meet them to the point at which they buy a house, should be all systematic. And what we're talking about today is all these different systems that you should put in so that your business is simply duplicatable, right? It's awesome, man. Listen, one of the things that I love about you is that you're always willing to share this stuff. I appreciate you coming on here today and killing it and giving us all your secrets. That was amazing.
Thank you, man.
One last thing. You got lots of tools there, and I know you said, hey, Jared will find a way to get it to you. How about this? How would people get in touch with you if they wanted to get in touch with you?
Oh, that's a good question. I think they could see the name above my head right now on this thing. I think, you can. So that's how you spell the name, Rick Dhillon. So my email address is rick@rickdhillon.com. My social media, Instagram, Facebook, same thing, Rick Dhillon. You know what? If you want all these stuffs, you can contact me. If somebody has invited you here, they can contact me too, and they can get that stuff to you, or you contact me at any of those. You want to call me, 416-303-5798. Whatever you guys want. That's my name. Catch me on social media, rick@rickdhillon.com. I'm more than happy to share.
Cool, brother. Appreciate your time today. Listen, we'll have to get G down to less time so that you can take up his time. We'll let him know.
Yeah. All right, man.
Cool. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Chat with you later.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, bro. Okay, bye.